So welcome, as I said, to this TAPAS seminar. I'm sure all of you probably know all of this, but I'll say it anyway. TAPAS is this NERC Clean Air Network, tackling air pollution at school. And we're very pleased to support a number of events, including this seminar series. And so we welcome all of you along to this today. Our speaker today is our very own Runming Yao, who is one of the co-investigators on TAPAS and has played a very active role in the project ever since it began. Runming is a global expert professor of design and management of the sustainable built environments at Chongqing University in China, and professor of the sustainable built environment at the University of Reading at the School of the Built Environment. She has broad research interests in the sustainable built environment with a focus on energy efficiency and the environment in buildings, and published widely in the areas of thermal comfort and well-being, building performance assessment, energy modeling, urban microclimates, and HVAC system and energy management. So it's a really great pleasure to have Runming to talk to us today, and she's going to talk about prioritizing actions for improving school classroom air quality. So Runming, over to you if you'd like to share your screen.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I
will share my screen. Yes, actually, where is my? Sorry, I should have the screen here. Let me see. No. Share the screen. Where is
should be the green button at the bottom, Runming.
Button.
The bottom of the screen.
Yes, but now I can't see my hold on a minute. I can't see my. Is that something here?
Yeah, that's that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought it's the meeting. Okay. Anyway, I will use this. Yeah. Okay. Minimize this. Okay. Thank you very much for your nice introduction. Yes, I am also the co-investigator of the TAPAS, and together with Michael Holland, we are the focus area 3 leader on the prioritizing actions for improving school classroom. So air quality. So today I just report some work we have done in both China and the UK. Yes, my presentation will have 3 parts. Firstly, I will briefly introduce the background and the motivation of this research, and then I will try to present some work we have done in China, Chongqing, and then just try to present the one academic paper we just submitted to a academic journal. It's the prioritizing actions for improve school indoor air quality. So we have done some literature reviews and selected some literatures, and by searching the Web of Science, we noticed the school air quality related studies has been increased in recent decade. From this figure, you can see from middle of 1990s, there were not many articles published in the peer-reviewed journals, but in recent 10 years, you can see each year, in particular, in recent couple of years, have many papers published, but this also means it's very active in this area, school air quality related studies. And by searching for the keywords, we can see that lots of studies focus on the particulate matters and related to the health effect and asthma And interestingly, we can see that the ventilation is one of the interesting topic of the about the school air quality. So we studied one research conducted in China. In this research, we can see that they selected some existing studies internationally and found 70% of the surveyed schools, the PM 2.5 exceeded the value that are recommended by the WHO. So the the classroom indoor air quality, in particular the PMs 2.5, is a very serious situation. From the medical studies, we understand that the children, of course, children are particularly the vulnerable group of people to airborne pollutions because they're narrow airways. And also the study found that the children generally breathe more air per pound of body than the body weight than the adult. So the contaminants and the pollutants related diseases, in particular, it is reported is about the, for example, the skin problems and also the asthma. So in particular, the asthma is a serious issues. We noticed that there are quite a lot of literatures in the public domain. In particular, here I would like to mention this is a study from America. They have studied about 16,000 data in the primary school students' learning performance. It is found that the pollutants within the classroom significantly reduce the students' learning productivity or performance and the cognitive performance, for example, in reading, in math, and in science. So these data are from the study from the US. In the UK, there are over 32,000 schools in the UK, and also the population of the pupils exceeded 10.3 million. And from left image, you can see that this is an image from the London. Many primary schools are located around the heavy polluted traffic road. So this is a very serious issue. And in the UK, it launched a number of projects in trying to raise the attention or raise the awareness about the classroom air quality. For example, Clean Air Strategy 2019. And also, this is just an example, Mayor's Greener City Fund to try to support the financial support to get the information or awareness about the air quality and the audit problem, the program to try to make sure the classroom air quality is clean. So there are many programs there. And in China, China has about 154,000 primary schools in total and about 106 million pupils. So this is the example of the project conducted in 2018. It called Chinese Indoor Environment and Health Surveillance. So this project investigated the classroom indoor air quality, and it was found the pollutants, for example, the PM 2.5, PM 10, carbon dioxide, formaldehyde, and also the bacteria all exceeded the values or limited data provided by the guide. In particular, the PM 2.5 and PM10 very high. It's about 66.5%, and 52.6% respectively. So particular matters in past few years is a very severe, serious problem in China, and many studies focus on this area, on this topic. And many cities, for example, Beijing and Xi'an, it's northern China, they have installed some air filtration units in the classroom. And also Chinese government has issued some standard, but I'm aware this standard is a little bit dated. So this is why the new studies are encouraged and perhaps will contribute to the establishment of the new standard to improve the indoor environment, in particular in the classroom. Inspired by this situation for the healthy school, for the healthy classroom, and also for children's health problem. So we have investigated some situations of the school, primary schools in Chongqing, and this is part of the project last year. Applied the funding from the Natural Science Foundation. It is a 3 years project, will enable us to get the data or information about the current situation in the primary school, and try to find the impact, the effectiveness on children's health. So that's the project. So this is part of the data from the project. So 2 schools are involved in this project. The Chongqing, if you are not familiar with the Chongqing city, it's the 4th municipal city in China with 300 million population. It's a mega city, very, very big. And these 2 schools located in the 2 major districts, all very close to the traffic, but primary school B is close to the construction site, because there is still some construction work around within the center of the city. So this is the images of 2 schools. So the monitoring work mainly focus on the parameters such as the PM 2.5, as we just mentioned. The PM 2.5 and the PM10 are the 2 particular pollutants in the classroom. So we focus on the PM 2.5 and also the total VOC and the formaldehyde, and also CO2 concentration, as well as the indoor and outdoor temperature and the humidities. So the monitoring work were conducted in last year, covers spring, summer, autumn, and winter. But during the period, some period stopped because of the COVID. It's a bit conscious because the schools, the COVID-19 and the school, not many schools are very welcome us to, to do the monitoring work, because they try to reduce the risk of transmissions. But anyway, we will continue to get the data in the coming years, but this is just a part of the data from last year. So from this school images, you can see that unlike UK primary school, they always put the tables like universities classroom and very crowded, and the class size is big, sometimes over 50 or 60 pupils. So the building usually have a corridor inside in the middle, and the two classrooms in the side, both sides. So these windows, you can see there are two internal windows and also external windows. The external windows are very, very big, and also has two doors in the internal wall. So this is the typical Chinese classroom layout. So we have monitored this kind of data. This is something we can see here. The PM 2.5 seasonal distributions for the classroom A seems okay, but the the school B is significantly exceeded the Chinese standard. About the it's about 35, I think it's 35 milligram per cubic meters. So this is because we analyzed, because this is the school located in the center, and also there is a construction site very nearby. And from this picture, figure, you can see that the total VOC is high, and both classrooms, both schools classrooms exceeded the required level. But from this formaldehyde, this seasonal distribution is not too bad, because these two schools are established. It's not new, so furnitures, things have been used for many years. So maybe that's the reason. And we also found some the CO2 concentration can be usually the CO2 concentration can be used as the indicator of the classroom quality, and we have done some kind of correlations about this three parameters. And from this ventilation, we are very interested in the ventilation, because we noticed the ventilation is very ventilation behavior is very common in Chongqing, because Chongqing is located in the hot summer and the cold winter zone. In China, they divided the zones, climate zones, five climate zones. So this Chongqing, this city located in the hot summer and the cold winter zone. That means summer is very hot and the winter is cold. But the people here has the habit to open the windows all the year. So we can see that although the population of the schools are big, but sometimes we find that the ventilation, cross ventilation rate is not too bad, because they always put the open the doors and windows. And we noticed, but this situation is different from season to seasons. So we used the opening area, calculated the opening areas by monitor this classrooms, and I noticed in the summer, for example, when the air conditioning is on, and then the people sometimes put the small areas for ventilation, but in the transition period, they always put the windows largely opened. This is the situation, very unique. Of course, this will have another situation draw attention because the air conditioning is on and they still open the windows or some of the doors or the internal windows, and it significantly increased the energy consumption in terms of heating and cooling. So yes, this is the figure I try to actually I suspect it's a little bit a concern on this figures data, because in the winter you can see that the opening area is so high. So I discussed with this researcher collected this data, and the explanation is that they observed that window there is a window always open in the open position. So even when the indoor when the air conditioning on, but in the winter time, because Chongqing is not that cold, so Chongqing comparing Shanghai, although they are all these two cities are both in the hot summer and the cold winter zone, but Chongqing's winter is slightly warmer. So this data was collected at the time. The temperature, we checked the temperature is around 10 degrees. So pupils put a lot clothes on. So they prefer fresh air. Perhaps this is the reason they prefer the fresh air than, feel cold, but actually they put more clothes on. So try to protect themselves from the cold. So this is a situation very, very different to the UK and other cities, for example, in Beijing and Xi'an, the northern China, is very different. And the situation of the ventilation very different from season to season. So we can see in the spring and the autumn time, the windows are almost always open. So this is the recording of the opening situations of the windows and the doors. So the bottom one, we can see that's the spring and the autumn period, and we can see the ventilation is very much active. But in the winter, you can see in the winter still has the lots of windows on. Only when the air conditioning on in the summer, and they put the some of the windows closed, but still remain a number of windows open. So this is the real situation. And yes, of course, the during the same day, we can see that the windows opening also depend on the break time and the class time. In particular, when the break time, people always put the windows open. So it's more free to move around, and then the windows are always be opened. So this is the concentration of the CO2 concentrations in the different season, and in the summer season we can see this is the summer season, spring and the autumn and the winter. So the AC, because summer is really, really hot, so air conditioning can be used. In the school in Chongqing, actually not a lot of schools has the air conditioning on all the time, but even just in the very, very hot days, they can put the air conditioning on. But the majority of the time, they use the fans to do the ventilation and to let the fresh air, or sometimes just to get the evaporative ventilation, even sometimes the outdoor temperature is high. So that's the situation of the classroom in Chongqing in the different schools, and also different situations in the different seasons. Yes, of course, this slides just to show the class size. As I just mentioned, the class size, sometimes if students, a few pupils there just to do the self-learning, and then sometimes the students coming in particular in the class, sometimes the class always be full. So sometimes the pupils number can be reached 50 or exceed 50. And then this CO2 concentration is very, very high. So this is the situation. But the break time, in the break time, the indoor classroom, indoor air quality can be sensed very poor. So pupil and the teachers always to open the window. So that's the situation. We we have done the on-site monitoring and the survey, and then based on this real situations, some simulations using the CFD. So I will quickly go through, because these 6 scenarios are used in the CFD simulation. Scenario 1 is the all the windows and the doors are closed. That's mainly the situation of the summertime. And another scenarios, for example, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are the real situation I just introduced, that when partly internal windows are open, or partly outdoor or external windows are open, the different situations. But scenario 6 is the situation that all the windows and the doors are closed, but just use the air conditioning, use the fresh air system, mechanical ventilation system. So some simulation results shows that the when the windows are open irregularly, and then you can see the particles movement not very good distribution. It will not be removed effectively. But if we use the air conditioning and in conjunction with the fresh air system, and then this situation can be removed, and the air distribution will be uniformed. In particular, we can see here some temperature distributions. So this image it shows the summer air conditioning situation without the fresh air. Although the temperature is dropped, and try to help the indoor thermal conditions. But we can see here, if use the outdoor, but people, because feel in the air conditioning situation, the internal temperature has been reduced, so felt a bit comfortable, but the air quality is not good. So in real situation, teachers or some students in the break time always try to open the window nearby. Then this is the situations, for example, a single side window was open, and then open one door, or both side windows are open, and you can see the temperature distributions are very not very uniformed. And the final situation is try to use the mechanical ventilation, try to remove the heat and also the particles. And this situation seems much better than the previous free running situation. And this is the velocity. In particular, you can see that the single side, you can see the draft near the windows and the openings, but the scenario 6 is the fresh air distribution. So this is just the CFD simulations. This is the concentration of the CO2 from the simulation based on the this 2 schools we investigated, and real situation. Although these scenarios are not very scientifically sounds great, because of course, when you are running the air conditioning, it's not supposed to open the window. In particular, at the moment, the carbon target, carbon reduction target is a big issue in the country at the moment. So it seems there are quite a lot of things needed to be considered, both in terms of the energy and the air quality. So we have done this kind of surveys and monitoring and simulation, preliminary safety simulation studies, and found lots of problems. So we really realized that the prioritizing of actions is really needed. Firstly, we have done this literature review from the current literature studies. We noticed that this is an important area, and we try to find what are the problems. And then secondly, we collected the real data and from the real situation. And so we work on this prioritizing for the actions, really needed action. So the studies has been designed in 3 stages. So first stage is trying to study the current situation, study the reports, academic papers, and then secondly, we through this survey and also the workshops. So we have done some workshop in shops in China, and also we focus area 3. This group, we have frequent discussions to try to identify what are the key problems and what are the actions we should immediately to act, or what are the most things most important. So this is the 3 stages things. So by literature study and discussions, we have collected a lot, identified things, mainly focus on the 3 areas. For example, the policy, we found we realized that the policy instrument is very important, but a lot of reports noticed that the budget is the issue. So the government needed to pay some attention on the financial support to help school in terms of the improvement of indoor air quality. So this is the things from the survey and also from the literature. So we always found that the financial issue and the government support is very important. And then secondly, we noticed this is the big attention for the technologies. There are many technologies are expected to be implemented in the school. Here we listed quite a lot of strategies and technologies, and then put in the second in the survey to see what are the most favorable technologies by the school, including teachers and the parents. So this is the second part, and then we noticed the information sharing is also desired by the school related teachers, for example, teachers and parents. So we classify the 3 categories: policy, technology, information sharing. And under this each level, we have the policies. For example, studied many documents from international government, UK, America, and China, and other countries about the policies in terms of improving the classroom indoor air quality. And secondly, we studied quite a lot of potential technologies that can be used by schools. For example, the natural ventilation seems the most popular technologies applied both in China and also in the UK. through the opening windows and the doors to get the fresh air. But of course, this also has the problems because, as just mentioned in the background session, that many schools located in the heavily polluted or heavily traffic road, near the road. So that's the limitations or constraints of the implementation of the natural ventilation, this method. So then the mechanical ventilation strategies seems becomes preferred used in air conditioning system or ventilation system, and the system, mechanical system, can clean the air and supply the fresh air to the classroom. So this is one of the desired measures for the school air quality. And of course, the cleaning system is also mentioned. It's very important if the air conditioning or mechanical ventilation system has not been cleaned, and that's just the recycled pollutant. That's not very good. So another technologies has been raised attention is use the green infrastructure. For example, the green hedges try to improve the classroom and outside of the classroom air quality, outdoor quality just outside of the classroom to try to prevent the traffickers pollutant transferred into the playground. So this is the technology, one of the technologies mentioned and preferred by the mostly by the UK schools. So information sharing is very desirable technologies by the school teachers and the parents as well, in particular preferred by the Chinese side, because they feel we should know what's the situation of the air quality in the school. We must make sure our children in the school are in the healthy environment. So a lot of parents raised this issue. We need a report or monitor the data, audit the data from the real situation in the classroom. So that's the things. So this figures just show some surveyed data in the China side about the expectations about the school and the current situation of the school and the ventilation behaviors and also the installation of the HVACs. Yes, so this is the situation of the equipment in Chongqing. Most actually only 45% of the classrooms equipped with air conditioning. So that means still there are quite a lot of schools suffered from the hot summer. But of course, the summertime, although the summer is hot in July and August, but the time is very short because it's in the summer vacation. So early July or yes, usually early July at the end of the term, they just use for a few days or just 1 or 2 weeks. So that is the situation. And also they preferred to clean the air classroom very frequently. And the survey also noticed that not all the classrooms clean every day. You can see from this one. Yes, the expectations of the on-screen monitored data knows the situation of the air quality and also expect the fundings from the government to support the cleaning of the school. So based on a lot of basic studies, we have used the AHP method called analytical hierarchy process method. Perhaps I will not explain this method in detail, but anyway, it's just a kind of method for the aim action to improve the air quality, and then 3 categories. Under 3 categories, there are a number of actions, and then use this AHP method. We have done the more detailed interview with the parents and the school teachers and the headmasters, and the results shows that this is a very complicated method of analyze method, try to avoid the inconsistency caused by the interview, during the interview. And this figure just show our data is qualified to get the results, because they have the numbers. If once this consistency ratio reach the number or certain number, for example 20 or 30, and then these samples are valid. So our samples are qualified to get the results. So I will quickly go through this, and of course from the UK and the China studies, we can see that both countries prefer this kind of technology is the more important issues that we need to act. And then this level in the sharing, this is the China results. Sharing the screen on-screen indoor air quality is very preferred, and also the in terms of the this is in terms of the policies and the regular meetings to communicate actions. The school teachers, headmasters communicate with the parents to inform the situation. This is very, very desired by the parents and the school teachers. And this is the situation in the UK. So using the natural ventilation and together with the air purifier to improve air quality, this is preferred by the UK teachers and the parents. And also the budget issue is also mentioned in the second importance. And also the green infrastructure and the hedges. So this is slightly different, but of course we can see that because the wider differences, because I think the UK's air quality situation, outdoor situation, slightly better than the Chongqing one. So key point from this AHP study, we can see that the parents and the teachers from both countries share the same concerns that the technology is the most effective action for increased classroom air quality. And in the level 2, that technology level, both UK and China put the important, very in the level 2 important, but they have a slightly different preference, as I just mentioned. So we have a regular monthly meeting in the focus area 3, and Mike Holland, he is also the leader of this focus area. And he had a project funded by the TAPAS, a small project, and called Act Now. This slides from Mike, and the objective of this Act Now project is try to get the schools started on air quality improvement. And the 7 steps were worked out for the access, engage, clean, and protect, and reduce, and maintain, and commit. So this is a very simple steps. Yes, of course, the final version will be
We seem to have lost you, Runming, for the moment. Can you hear, Emma, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Paul. I think maybe Runming's
Runming,
Wi-Fi has dropped out, unfortunately.
yes. Could you send her a message? We've certainly lost Runming at the moment.
I think Mike is on the call. I don't know, Mike, if you want to say a few words about Act Now while we get Runming back.
Yeah, I could.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
That's all right. Give me a moment. Right. Now, can I share screen? I can't share screen while the other participants. Can you unshare Runming?
Yes, done that.
Right. Okay. Let's see if I can share. This is when you discover how many things you have open on your computer. Right. So where's the thing? There we are. Okay, so Runming gave you the background to it. We have the material shown here is drafted, but it should be released very soon, either in May or early June. So we've got 7 steps. First of all, the first step in there is assessing schools' air pollution level, understanding the nature of the problems affecting individual schools, then engaging children, cleaning up the school environment, protecting classrooms and school halls, dealing with traffic-related issues, maintaining premises and issues such as changing filters and maintaining boilers, etc., and committing to change in the longer term. So of the measures that we've recommended, they're deliberately not comprehensive. But they are actions that shouldn't require significant investment of money, such as the issues raised there, and hopefully not too much investment of time either. So they should be accessible by all schools. And there is something of a recipe format used in the information to guide people through the process. We do stress that it's not a complete answer to the issue of air pollution in school, but we hope that when people get through to the end of it, they can go further through, for example, the Clean Air Schools framework.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I think we have Runming. Are you back? Because we lost
Yes,
you.
I don't know why it's disconnected. Sorry about that. Can you help me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly now.
Oh, right. That's great. That's
so,
yes. Thank you, Mike, very much for your. Yes, I just showed the slides that you provided that, and excellent. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to answer some questions if anyone have. And also, I very much like to thank all the colleagues from Chongqing University and collect this data, and also many people working on the this AHP prioritizing method, and the workshops, collect the interviews, and have done this. And thank you very much indeed. Thank you. I'm sorry, apologize for that why
So,
this
so
lost is
had you finished your presentation?
Yes, finished. Yes. The
Okay.
finals are Mike's presentation. Thanks, Mike. Thank you very much. Yes.
So that worked well. Okay, so we have I have a raised hand from Caroline. Do you want to ask something, Caroline?
Thank you so much for that really clear and what a lot of very good hard work that you've done. I've got a question about one of the things that you said about was prioritizing green infrastructure, and of course that's really close to my heart. But I recently was at a presentation which said that actually green infrastructure doesn't really do very much. It makes us happy, but it doesn't actually really reduce pollution very much. And do you want to comment on that, or do you disagree with that?
I really feel the green infrastructure is very, very important because in our study, we noticed in China's study, there is not many green infrastructure there. The fence always just a kind of the iron that kind of things. And but in the UK, we can see quite a lot of green edges things around the school. So we found that that's very, very useful. And I know in the UK, the project that Inhale project, I can see Prashant there. And in that project, they have done the urban simulation in terms of the reduction of the air pollution, and the green infrastructure like green hedges provided a very, very effective way to prevent the traffic, the pollution from the traffic into the playground. So that's significantly reduced PM 2.5 or even more small particulate matters. Yeah, thank you. And
I think that it's a very interesting question. Now, I wonder if Prashant, if you have a view on this, because I think you've done quite a lot about this, haven't you? And since you're there, maybe you could tell us what you think.
Yeah, so I think it's a very good point. Thank you, Paul and Runming. So it's a very good point about the infrastructure. So if you're putting the right kind of species and they are closer to the source, then you can see the reduction quite substantially. So far away you go from the source, it means it's already get kind of, the dilution. You will not get that much of impact. So we have published a series of studies looking into the different types of infrastructure, like the hedges, the tree plus hedge combination. So I just put one in the chat box. And we constantly see actually quite a good reduction, almost up to 54% in this particular study for the PM 2.5. So they do work actually very efficiently, but obviously the mechanism by which they they reduce includes the dilution and the deposition. And the dilution is a major factor, so that can delay the fresh emissions to reach to the people, and that can reduce the concentrations. I can provide you more information if you want later on. Just either ask Kate or just drop me a line. There's loads of information on that topic.
Yeah, thanks very much. So if you allow, I'd like to ask a question myself, which is, you showed this very interesting result or interesting observation that in Chongqing, the windows are left open in the winter and the kids put clothes on, which or more clothes on, which I think seems a sensible move. And I just wondered, is there any evidence that this improves their health or reduces infections transmitted through the classroom and so on?
Yes, actually, this is the study, very, how to say, it's very complicated issues, because that's why we actually 2021, we put the proposal, and 2022, we get this project from the Natural Science Foundation. So the problem is, it's the conflict issues. One is to protect the thermal cold risk in winter, because the summertime indoor air temperature sometimes very, very low. But traditionally people always put the heavy coat clothes on, and to try to protect from the cold. But they always put the windows, we have conducted one project called Hot Summer, Cold Winter Heating and Cooling Solutions. And we noticed that people in this area really want to open the windows comparing with the Northern China people. But in another way, the open the window, of course, this will help the people, help to dilute the indoor pollutions significantly, like CO2 concentrations and the PM concentrations, and also for the COVID period and that period, because in China it was a little bit difficult to measure the things, because in that period people in Chongqing study, the schools closed, and then in the winter time we just catch up the small windows like 1 week or 2 weeks and just monitored that. Ventilation really improved sort of in terms of reduce the pollution. It is really important and helped a lot. So that's why people prefer to put more clothes and then still open the windows to get the fresh air.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, thank you very much, Runming, and everybody for joining us today. We've come to the end of time. I'm sure that if you have further questions from Runming, you can send her an email, and I'm sure she'll be happy to answer them. I'd like to thank you all for joining us again today, and to say that Kat has put the next speaker in for next week, next Thursday, May the 18th, and it's Natalie Regis from Edinburgh Napier University, who'll talk on one of our small research projects that we have funded called The Air We Share. And I hope you'll all tune in to that again next week.